Cris Collinsworth, NBC Sunday night football analyst, and just celebrated his 500th career broadcast Sunday night with the Bucs and the Rams on Thanksgiving night. He's got the Bengals and the Ravens. Joe Burrow is expected to start. It will kick off at 8:20 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Before we get started, apparently you were listening to my college conversation, my college days at Eastern Kentucky for 2 years. And you would like to be my therapist. Go ahead, Cris.
Well, just a little bit. It was interesting that, you were in college and it was the college rule. It was 1 foot on the ground you had to keep, and not two,
Yeah.
right? If you had been a professional at that point. So in today's NIL world, I think you would have had to have 2 feet on the ground in order to, pass.
How was your college? I mean, you were a big deal. You were, a big star at Florida.
It's like everybody else's, I think. I mean, you go in there, you have no idea. My one son had the best idea. Austin went to play at Notre Dame, and he said, the most interesting part of college is the first week. Like everybody's in a full panic that they don't know anybody, they don't have any friends, and they want to have friends. So he said, I just came up with the idea. I was going to go up to every hot girl on campus and go, look, hey, we're all new here. Here's my phone number if you need anything. They give me yours. It was like the greatest scam of all time that he just had this whole thing worked out in his brain. And the rest of us are like, hi. Yeah, I'm from Titusville, Florida. Yeah, I want to be a doctor, but I probably will never get there. So I'm hoping I can be a broadcaster. Like what we were all doing. We were all terrible.
Wait, you wanted to be a doctor?
I went through a year of like pre-med, and it was, I could do fine in every class except for the weeding out class was chemistry, and I made like C's and pretty much understood at that point that wasn't happening.
What are the chances Lane Kiffin goes to your alma mater?
I was watching that game when Florida was playing Ole Miss, and I was thinking, this is going to be the most messed up thing of all. Florida wants Lane Kiffin, and now Florida's team's going to beat Lane Kiffin and so now nobody's going to want Lane Kiffin. Like only Florida can come up with this scenario here. I don't know. I've heard little rumors on the outside, and they're thinking that Lane's going to give them a discount for going to Florida, and probably not going to happen. And there's always a few things going on. So. But yeah, Florida's kind of in need, and you got to say what Lane has done at Ole Miss has been pretty remarkable. That's pretty good stuff.
All right, so you got the Bengals coming up. Would you be starting Joe Burrow if you were coaching the Bengals?
It's so hard to know, going in there. I'm not doing the game on Thursday. Jason Garrett will be doing that one, but it's difficult, right? I mean, you got a franchise quarterback here. You're not in all likelihood going anywhere, but the part of that is it's still possible. I know the percent is like 1% that they do this, but they split with Pittsburgh and they have 2 games remaining with the Ravens. So if they were to beat the Ravens in both games, I mean, the leader in the division 6-5. They're both 6-5, and the Bengals have 3 wins. So you knock off the Ravens twice. Who knows? Is that possible? It's possible. It's a divisional game. You're still not out of the hunt, but I have a feeling that Joe Burrow is kind of that guy that it just kills him to not be in the lineup with his guys. And we've already heard a little bit of the rumblings from behind the scenes, what it did for the defense that Joe Burrow practiced all week last week, that he's not giving up on the season and he wanted to play, and it kind of gave a spark to the whole team. So I'm assuming the doctors know what they're doing. Would I do it on its face? No, there just doesn't seem to be that big a reason to do it. But it's Joe Burrow, and God bless him, he's competitive.
Yeah, you got the Ravens twice. You also have the Dolphins and the Browns and the Cardinals. So you could kind of catch lightning in a bottle here and maybe make it interesting, putting some pressure on the Steelers, but. Like, you can't bubble wrap him, Cris. Like, you're paying him $50 million to be your quarterback. You can't go, well, we're not going to put him out there because the games don't mean anything. You still have a fan base you got to placate as well.
You do, but the point of it, and only someone who has lost 2 Super Bowls could say this honestly. You only play to win a championship. That's it. It doesn't do you any good to win a game, to win a season, to have a winning record. I mean, we had a 10-6 season. We didn't even get to go to the playoffs, and wham, wham, wham. And, everybody was always crying about that. But, nobody remembers anything you did if you didn't win it all. They just don't. I mean, I've never had anybody come up to me and go, "Oh, boy, I remember those 2 AFC championship games you guys played in." No, they remember, "Oh, I remember when Joe Montana beat you twice in the Super Bowl." That's what they remember. And it's a really, I wish I had one more chance to do it. That is the funny part about it. It's like everybody wants to play to win the whole thing. And when you don't, it just doesn't matter. So if Joe Burrow playing this year somehow hurts his chances of winning it all next year, that's why I would think about
Does it make it any easier that you did lose to Joe Montana?
it. No.
Okay.
Yeah, because really, we go through. So I do games in San Francisco all the time, and you go through, and of course, the Super Bowl trophies are front and center when you're there. And they had 5 Super Bowls, and 3 of them were complete blowouts. They blew out the competition, and 2 of them were close games against us. So we definitely had a chance. We had the first one. We were down 20-0 at halftime, and still had a chance to win the game by the end of it. But yeah, it's yeah. So this is you're becoming my therapist. I was going to be your therapist. Now you're becoming mine. I need this. Yeah.
We're talking to Cris Collinsworth, just completed his 500th career game. It was Sunday night. More catches in the NFL or more games that you called?
Games that I called. I
How
think it
many?
was four,
You're close to 500 receptions, weren't you?
417, something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, we had a couple of strike years in there, and yeah, so I mean, it wasn't like nobody caught. Like you could always be around the leading receiver if you caught 60 to 70 passes. Like those are the guys who were going to the Pro Bowl back then. Now those are like fourth string guys. The other part is funny. I never had one. Um, I can't remember a touchdown pass. I'm sure I had one of under 10 yards. I was watching Devontae Adams the other night, and he was like, quick slant. Jerry Rice would have one. I never caught a wide receiver screen. Like the game is just, I never caught a back shoulder throw. Nobody even invented a back shoulder throw at that time. I was like, how stupid were we that we didn't think to have somebody stop on a go route when he was in position to be able to make the play? Nobody had the bunch formations where you could get 3 receivers and get them out of man-to-man coverage. I remember playing the Raiders and the Cleveland Browns with their great cornerbacks that they had. And you just lined up out wide and tried to get open fast. And then meanwhile, they're blitzing their quarterback and getting after him. It's so funny looking back on the game where it was and where it is today and the answers that they have in the passing game today. It's a wonder they ever run the ball at all.
You're kind of whining here. The
I
Super
know.
Bowls, you're whining about not being used
I know.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least I didn't have to keep one foot on the ground with them in college.
If the Cowboys beat the Chiefs, finish that
Yeah.
sentence.
Pay attention. I don't think they're catching the Eagles. I really don't. But when you have an offense like that, yeah, pay attention because they did make some moves, right? They made some moves to improve their defense that was really pretty bad. And really, the first game against the Eagles it wasn't that bad a game. That was the opening night. So the divisional opponents always spend a ton of time working on the teams in their division. So Dallas is the one team in that division. Should they sneak into the playoffs? And you go, who are the favorites right now? You probably say Philadelphia and the Los Angeles Rams are the 2 front runners. And Dallas, because they can score points, could have a day against either one of those teams.
I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with the Eagles, and they're probably still trying to figure out. Does it come down to the offensive line maybe isn't as good as it's been in previous years?
I think that's true. I do think that's true. But they were great. You know, they were so far superior than what they had been in the past. And the other one that, I mean, I talked about it on the air the other night, but Jalen Hurts, I think to some extent, they haven't completely opened up that offense. And they're going to make the playoffs. There's no way they're not going to make the playoffs. And the goal is to get to the playoffs and unleash the hounds at that point. And so you think about when the Eagles are great, in my opinion. Eagles are great when they have not scrambles, which Jalen does, but designated run plays with him. They run powers, they run read options, they run various plays that sets up the run game. Because now you've got to leave the backside edge player there because, you know, he might hand it off, he might run the other way off to the right. So when you get those plays going, when you get those runs going, even if it's just 5 per game, it sets up Saquon Barkley to not have to have that backside in. You're going to have an extra safety come down in the box to try and stop him from running. And what happened last year was when Saquon got out, it was against a single high safety, and no single safety ever tackled him. But now defenses are getting away with 2 deep safeties being back there in the run game and coming down, and now they're able to tackle him, and he's getting the 10, 15-yard runs. He's not getting the 70-yard runs. And the other part of that is now you've got quarterback running, you've got Saquon exploding with big plays, and now you're setting up what A.J. Brown does best, which is play against man coverage. A.J. Brown with his in cuts, with his slants, with his catch and run, he looks like a tank out there on the field. Now you get those 2 things going, which they had last year, and now you got A.J. going, and now the Devontae Smith is, you know, the fourth thing you got to stop, and so he gets man coverage and he's catching the bomb. So I think when they get to the playoffs, maybe I'm completely wrong, maybe I'm completely out of my mind. I do think you're going to see Jalen Hurts run on some of those designated plays more to set up everything else.
Did Tom Brady reach out to you about how to become an analyst?
He did, yeah, yeah. Did he reach out to you?
He did not, because I wouldn't have the firsthand knowledge of that. I did talk to Drew Brees a little bit about it, but that's, you know, you're in the studio, and I said it's so sterile there. You got to create excitement in the studio. When you go to the game, that allows you to be as close to the action as possibly playing. What did you tell Brady?
To go to the studio. Honestly, it's exactly this. It's the same thing I told Peyton Manning. Same thing I told all of them. I said, you know, the studio is something that. What are you preparing for? You've got like 5 or 6 different hits during the course of the show. You know what you're going to talk about going into it. You can research it easily. It's not that big a deal. Now you do have to know a little something about all the teams, but that's not too bad. When you do the game, man, you are starting from scratch every single week. I mean, we did Washington a couple of weeks ago, but so much has changed during the course of the last couple of weeks with that. Now you got to go back, and I got to be able to study Marcus Mariota, and I got to because now he's taken over the quarterback
Yeah, but
position.
this is what Tom did on a weekly basis.
Yeah, but here's what I tell him, and it's the same thing I told Peyton Manning. I go, look, you're used to getting ready for one side of the ball, your offense against their defense. Now you have 6 sides of the ball that you got to get ready for. Now you got to get ready for the backup offensive tackle and who's the assistant weight coach and who's the general manager and what moves might they be making and blah 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 blah. And it's work. I mean, and Tom, God love him, that's what he said. He goes, I love the work. I love the grind. I miss the grind. I want to do that. And I go, okay. I said, now let me lay the last bit of you. Now we've got, you're used to playing 8 road games a year. You are now going to have 22 road games. You got 22 straight road games. I know you want to be around your kids. I know you want to have some time. You want to do that. But that's what it's about. When we did the pregame show, we would go in on Saturday. Now I go in on Thursday night. So Thursday night to Monday is your 22 straight weeks life if you're ready for that. And like Peyton was he's the genius of all geniuses. Somehow he went from he was going to call games to sitting in his basement with his brother, screwing around and getting Emmy awards. Like, I have no idea. He's the smartest human being I ever met in my life.
Okay, but
But
did you try to?
Brady wanted it. He wanted it.
Did
Dan,
you
he
try to
wanted
talk
do
him
it.
out of it and tell him to do studio instead of going on the road?
Did I do that?
Did you try to?
Yes, every
Okay.
one of them that have called me. I go, look, just bear with me. I'm going to try and talk you out of what you're talking about here. And I give them the same, I give them all the same spiel, every single one of them, because I don't want them coming back to me going, oh man, my life was ruined. Living on the road. I might as well be a baseball player. I'm never home. So I didn't want to hear that back. Now, getting to the stadium on Sunday and calling a game is way better than being in the studio for all the reasons you just said. Because you're sitting there and you get the action, you get the excitement of being at the ballpark, you get what we pay for, right? As fans, how many times have you paid to have a seat in the stadium for the big events? And I'm there every Sunday night. It's fantastic. Now, you talk for 3 hours. I mean, the president of the United States doesn't get to talk for 3 straight hours at any point during the week. So when you mess something up, you say something stupid or something that you didn't, mean to insult somebody, but you do, then you pay the price and you end up in the blender of social media for a little while, and then somebody else does something.
So you're whining about being on the road for 22 weeks. Do you want to be back in the studio? Is that what you're saying? Wow.
Well,
Collinsworth coming off the road, question mark?
no.
You're up to 500. I mean,
what am I going to do? Shoot for 1,000? I'm like,
no, you can go back in the
Get there.
studio now.
No. I'm perfectly happy. I
Okay.
love what I'm doing.
Okay.
Really, we have a great time. You have a road family. I mean, you know what it's
Yeah.
like. You have a road family. I mean, it's like you have people I live with literally for 6 months out of the year, and you love them and you're happy to be with them and the whole thing. But I just think that quarterbacks in general, especially ones that have had the careers those guys have had, they're used to a certain way of life, and they're not, it's work. I mean, you go to the practice facility, you sit around, you got to get there early for the head coach, then you stay another 2 hours afterwards for the quarterback who's coming out of a massage, and I mean, it's different. It's different.
Real quickly, who do
I'm
you?
whining you. You're like turning me into a whiner here. I don't want to be a whiner.
You complained about Montana. You complained. I'm just listening to you, Chris. I'm here for you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I see Bobby Knight right in front.
That's Lou Holtz
That's Lou Holtz?
at Arkansas.
No way. With
Yeah.
yellow hair?
Yeah, back in the day, he had. Yeah, I mean, he had Robert Redford kind of hair.
Did he really? Who knew?
I'm a lot older than you, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Safe travels there with Washington and Denver on Sunday night.
I'm going to work on being more positive here. Thank you.
All right, that's what I do. Cris Collinsworth. And the Thanksgiving night game, it'll be Bengals-Ravens, Mike Tirico with Jason Garrett. They will kick off at 8:20 Eastern. We'll take a break. Your phone call's coming up. Reggie Miller in about a half hour from now.